Hello everybody, and welcome to your comic book escape. I got no big haul this time around, no big key books, no speculation books, some character going to show up in a movie, maybe make you a bunch of money if you sell the book on eBay, nothing like that. Instead, what I have today is 10 Marvel comic books that everyone should read. Everyone. Whether you're a comic book fan, movie fan, literature fan, you need to read these books. I purposely chose 10 books that were inexpensive. You could get these at any comic shop, eBay, trade paperback, Barnes & Noble, Comic-Con. You can find these books, and you should. So I'm just going to jump right into it. These are in no particular order. It's not a countdown. It's just 10 Marvel comic books that you need to read. Starting with Thunderbolts, number 1. Thunderbolts. Here's a series no one talks about, and they should, because this series is awesome. I should do a whole video on this series. I'm sure sometime I will. Thunderbolts number 1 came out in '97. I'll try and just spoil these too badly as I go through here, but I probably will a little bit. What are you gonna do? Thunderbolts number 1. All the heroes in the Marvel Universe, for reasons, are gone. And this new group of heroes pops up to fill the void. And it's done by Kurt Busiek. He's a writer. Mark Bagley on arts. It's a beautiful book. Great adventure story. And then at the end of this issue, giant plot twist. Everything you think you know is wrong. It's great. Thunderbolts number 1. Find it, get it, own it, read it. All right. Captain America 250. Cap runs for president. Or does he? I had this picture, this cover on a t-shirt for years. I wore this t-shirt until it was just threads. Very sad I had to get rid of it. Basically, Cap's on one of his adventures, fighting bad guys and whatnot. And a third political party decides they want Steve Rogers to run for president. Steve Rogers not really interested in such things, but doesn't out and out decline. He doesn't want to hurt their feelings, so he says he'll think about it, thinking that the matter will drop because he thinks it's ridiculous that a man in a mask with a big A on his forehead and some wings above his ears would run for president. This quickly becomes a big media story. The Democrats and Republicans also want him to run. Ends in a big sequence where Cap addresses the nation and gives his decision whether he's going to run or not. There's a lot of parallels to what's going on in our own political system, strangely enough, and society. Great book. Great Captain America book. Roger Stern, the writer. John Byrne is the artist. Book came out in like 1980. Great book. Pick it up. Now, all right, technically I have 11 comics here, but one's a two-parter. This one's a two-parter, so I'm counting it as one. What you gonna do? If you enjoyed these Avengers movies at all, if you enjoyed this last one with Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet and all that stuff, you really need to pick up these two books. Starting with Avengers King Size Annual number 7. This is just Greek tragedy comic book, man. It's Thanos is the bad guy. He's not trying to put together the Infinity Gauntlet, but he is trying to wipe out many people, all living creatures in the universe. And the Avengers gather to stop him. Adam Warlock gathers to stop him. It's beautifully done. Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos, and he did all these Marvel cosmic stories in the 70s. So good. So still underrated. Like, comic fans know him, but he's still underrated. It's great. It's so good. And then this issue is then, oddly enough, continued in the most oddball book possible. Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 2 from 1977. Jim Starlin, again, just continues the story right off where he left. Suddenly, Spider-Man and the Thing from the Fantastic Four are oddly involved in this big space opera. This issue's my favorite of the two. And really, all you need is this one, if you really want to get bare bones about it, because it recaps what happens in the first couple of pages. But the first pages alone are great, because Spider-Man with his spidey senses and some help from one of the Avengers, gets a message from space. Basically has a dream that he sees all this battle going on in space, wakes up and is like, oh man, I gotta help out, except I'm Spider-Man and I can't really web sling up to space. So he goes to the Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm is home, the Thing. He's reading Salem's Lot, just chilling on a Friday night. And Spidey busts up his day. Ben Grimm's like, yeah, okay, we got a rocket ship around here somewhere. And they just casually go to space. And then shenanigans ensue. It's great. I'm not giving it, I'm making it too light. It's just a big epic story. It's so good. Find it, get it, read it. Oh man. See, this was so fun. If you have a comic collection, right now it's polar vortexing outside. It's freezing cold. You're inside. Go through your books. There's such good stuff in there. The stuff you collected, you need to read it. Go through it again. It's so good. And that's what I thought when I pulled this one out. Incredible Hulk 300. I'm not the biggest Hulk fan, but this issue is perfect. This issue, Hulk loses all form of humanity. Hulk is just a raging monster at the start of this issue. Unstoppable, just hurricanes and tornadoes incarnate. He is just destruction. And all the heroes of the Marvel Universe gather to try to subdue the Hulk. And they can't. The Avengers are there, Daredevil's there, the Fantastic Four is there. Everyone is trying to stop the Hulk, and it is not working. Finally, Doctor Strange shows, I'm going to spoil this one because I want to, but it's still worth a read. It's so good. Doctor Strange shows up, and instead of, as I'm reading this issue, I'm like, oh, okay, Doctor Strange will magically put Hulk in a coma or something and try to help poor Bruce Banner out of this situation. No. Zaps him off into like other dimensions in space and time. Hulk's just adrift in not our reality. That's where the issue ends. All these heroes just like, well, couldn't really save him. That's a shame. And just send the Hulk off the planet. It's insane. It's so good though. So good. Pick it up. Hulk 300. Oh, and on a side note, this was written by Bill Mantlo. Bill Mantlo is the writer on this. And I haven't talked about Bill on this series. He wrote a ton of stuff in the Bronze Age, 70s Marvel. Great writer, created Rocket Raccoon. And then years later was hit by a car. He's still with us, but he's like, I don't know if he's quite in a vegetative state, but he's like a shell of his former self and is like living in like assisted living home, I believe. Just very sad, but great writer. Bill Mantlo. Find his work. Always entertaining stuff. Hulk 300. Yes. Took things in a bad direction there, but what are you going to do? Uncanny X-Men 268. Look at this cover. This one was popular in comic circles for years because of this cover. It's great. Captain America, Wolverine, Black Widow, all drawn by comic book superstar Jim Lee. This book is great. This travels, we jump in time a couple of times here because Wolverine is a very old character. And he met Captain America the first time during Cap's first appearances in 1941. That's what this issue tells us. It's Captain America and Wolverine and the Black Widow punching a bunch of Nazis. That's great. That to me, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. You show me a hero punching out some Nazis, that's good stuff. And it's drawn so well. Just a fun book. Book will make you smile. Pick it up. Ooh, this book won't make you smile, but it's a good horror story. Ghost Rider 68. This is Roger Stern's run on the book, his first issue as a writer. This book is so good. So we get the origin of Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider recapped, as Johnny Blaze is telling this all to a priest. Yeah, he just walks into a church and wants to do a confession. He's confessing to this priest. And in the course of all this, we find out this priest is not who he claims to be. And Johnny Blaze has to do some vengeance. And it's wonderful. Wonderful horror story. Great pathos for poor Johnny Blaze. Just this man that's made a deal with the devil. It's a great book. Oh, so good. I wish this is what the movies were. So good. This may be the most, second most fun of any of the books I'm going to show you here. Best laughs. Deadpool number 8. From the first Deadpool series. So funny. All right, the premise of this comic by Joe Kelly, the writer, and Pete Woods, I almost said Wally Wood. Pete Woods, the artist. Deadpool goes back in time. And he ends up, it's the exact issue, it's Amazing Spider-Man issue 47 from the 60s. They use the exact same pages, they just put Deadpool in these pages. He goes back to the past, he impersonates Peter Parker, he has some kind of ray that makes him look like Peter Parker, whatever. So he's in this hilarious situation, it's all the same dialogue from like the 60s, so everyone's groovy and whatnot, and I keep saying Daredevil. Deadpool's just having a great time with the whole thing, just riffing on everyone. It's so funny. If you enjoy those Deadpool movies at all, this is that same kind of flavor, but less, graphic. This is very suitable for children. It's just funny. Funny book. Ooh, not funny, but still great. Silver Age book in here, people. But attainable Silver Age, not like a key or anything like that. Invincible Iron Man number 14 with the Night Phantom. I may have talked about this book somewhere before, I don't know. Archie Goodwin, the writer. Archie Goodwin, one of my favorite writers, editors, did so much in comics. God bless him. But here is the writer, 1969, I believe? 69. It's really like a horror story. It's like a throwback to like the old, like, just creepy 50s horror stories, and Iron Man just happens to be in it. We've got, they don't say it's Haiti, but it's a voodoo island, an island where voodoo is practiced. And we have this phantom and radioactive creatures and a damsel in distress, and it's great. It's a good book. I got this pretty much on the cheap. It's not in the best shape, but you can get this on eBay or comic shops. Iron Man 14. Oof, good stuff. Uncanny X-Men 308. I keep sighing when I look at these books because they make me happy. These are such good comics. Uncanny X-Men 308. This is the era of X-Men that I grew up reading, the 90s. Scott Lobdell is the writer here. Scott Lobdell, a lot of people like to give Scott Lobdell a lot of grief now. At the time, he was a very heralded writer, but now looking back, his stories have apparently not held the test of time for people. Okay, that's fine. What he does better than any writer I've ever read is he puts these amazing characters in human situations that you can identify with. In this case, the X-Men, it's around Thanksgiving time. So we're down from a giant epic adventure. This issue, we're hanging out. The majority of the Avengers are raking leaves in the front yard of Avengers Mansion. They're piling leaves up. They're playing a touch football game. Cyclops, Scott Summers here, and Jean Grey are just on a stroll, talking about their relationship. We get a bunch of flashbacks to their adventures, the ups and downs. Ends with a marriage proposal, a big Thanksgiving dinner. It's great. It's just a real human story. It's a big win for a lot of characters that usually just are being bashed by supervillains. So you're happy for these characters. And then the next issue, all hell breaks loose again. And you're like, oh man, they were just so happy. Now all hell's breaking loose. But this is great. Scott Lobdell, John Romita Jr. on art. One of my favorite comics. Go get it. And last but not least, this is the most fun comic. This is after the Deadpool comic. I love this book so much. Big Spider-Man fan. Amazing Spider-Man 267. The Commuter Cometh. Peter David wrote this. This is so funny. So, in short, Spider-Man's having an adventure, stopping crime in New York City. A little petty thief gets away. Spidey puts one of his Spidey homing devices, Spidey tracking device on him. And he tracks him the next day into the suburbia. Spider-Man can't function in suburbia. He rides on top of a bus to get there. And then he's there, and it's just, suburb streets. He tries to swing, and he realizes, oh, there's nothing I can really swing on here. He jumps into a tree, the tree breaks. Neighbors come out and are pissed that he busted their tree. Eventually, he's just walking through the suburbs, trying to figure out where to go, not lamenting that he should not have taken this course of action. He should have done something far different. One child offers him his big wheel as a mode of transportation at one point in time. It's just great. It's so funny. I cannot recommend this book enough. I would love to see this homaged in one of the movies at some point in time. Just Tom Holland walking around just your neighborhood. Because, you know, these books are always set in New York, metropolis, big sprawling cities. I don't live in a big sprawling city. I live in a little neighborhood and a little cul-de-sac. And then to see Spider-Man walking down my street, that'd be quite a thing. That's what this issue is. It's great. Find it. And that's what I got this time, people. Did you like this? Was this good? I could easily do another top 10 Marvel books you need to read. I need to do a top 10 DC books you should read. I don't know. We all have these big collections, and I feel they get taken for granted. They all just end up in boxes once you've collected them. Collecting is the big fun, and then they're just kind of hidden away. I want to bring those out into the light. You do the same. Show me your books. What do you got in your collection? Yeah, so thank you for watching. I very much appreciate it. Stay warm out there, people, and I will talk to you all soon.